once again, all at the same time, and ain't nobody break out in a fight, ain't nobody mad with nobody, everybody loving everybody, and everybody want to get free. Is that correct? Let me start by thanking you, Baltimore, for coming out. Did I do that? Let me start by thanking you for simply coming out. Let me start by thanking you for simply being black. Let me start by simply saying peace, love, honor, respect, hotep, shalom, what's up, and everything else. Power to the people. Bring the revolution. Free the land. Black power. This is what we want to do. Tonight, we want your undivided attention. We got the remainder of the evening. We want to talk about some of the main issues that have been plaguing the black community around the world. This isn't just a Baltimore issue. This is a Chicago issue. This is an Atlanta issue. This is a Gabon issue. This is a Ghana issue. This is a Central Ireland issue. They done took over. Everywhere the hunkies have set the soles of their feet by being aliens, they have taken over the planet. And we still trying to love them. Somewhere along the line, there has to be a consolidation of all of our efforts in whatever it may be that we are seeking to do in order to become free as a people. Somewhere along the line, I don't think a voter registration drive is going to do it. Somewhere along the line, more loans and grant money just won't seem to do it. The greater, the bigger, the better, and the more deeper those subprime loans get, somewhere along the way, that's just not going to do it. George Bush with another 4 years, somehow, some way, that's just not going to do it. It's going to take the minds of black people on a global, universal scale to free themselves. No amount of voting, no amount of elections, no amount of pleading, no amount of marching, no amount of singing is going to free black people. Brother Steve has gone around this country and has taken the time to literally educate the African American community on so many issues, from the Boule to the Trilateral Commission, to the Council on Foreign Relations, to the Skull and Bones Secret Society at Yale, even down to the local conspiracy that's probably lurking even in your own basement. Somewhere along the line, we're going to have to get a sharper and deeper, more firmer analysis of what it is that we are up against as a people. Now, as we realize, Minister Farrakhan said a long time ago that all white people weren't bad. But he also said, for those of us that are scared of snakes, whether you know the difference between a rattler and a garden snake, it makes no difference. If you are afraid of snakes, then you watch all snakes. So in the same manner, we want to be able to know and understand that the global system of white world supremacy is the leading cancer in this earth that is destroying black people. And as I've often said here in Baltimore, that sometimes it takes certain things to fire us up. I mean, look at us. We all been here in America for the last 400 years or better. I don't know about you. I've been here and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. So I say, let's go get them tonight, but let's organize around what I'm saying as far as this slogan is concerned. Because come Monday, you shouldn't look at anything in this society from the same standpoint that you did last week. Am I making any sense? In Baltimore, we have a historic distinction from way back in the early 90s of being able to bust in at the Hyatt Regency Hotel on the Grand Boulet's meeting that brought all of this black male secret society together in a way where they discussed their policy for making certain that as advisors to the king, in the end, if we went down the tube, they were the last and remaining element. There was no greater joy than to stand in that meeting that night and to watch Vernon Jordan address well over 3,000 black people, talking directly to Brother Steve, Brother Donald, myself, Brother Talib, and others, as he sought to discredit black people who sought to expose other black people that were working with total complicity in a global compliance with white world supremacy. There's no other way to say it. When blacks decide that they have had enough and join on board with white people to eliminate their own race, the only other option left for black people is to fight back. I was talking with a young brother from the Bloods gang the other day, and he made an interesting analysis, and I want you all to take this as far as you can go. He said that the revolution is coming, and it is going to take every black man and woman in America and 2 white people in order for us to get free. The reason he says it's going to take 2 white people is due to the simple fact that rule number 1, we never believe it unless a white man says it, and then rule number 2, we're going to need a white man to lead the revolution. Now, as funny as that may seem, I hope we ain't thinking along those lines. But nevertheless, before we bring Brother Steve on, we want to remind you that the research and the effort that goes into bringing the information that is brought forth to you tonight, it's not just done for show or for fashion, but research is expensive. We don't have no grants, we don't have any loans, there's no Rockefeller money, no Ford Foundation, no Carnegie, no Sloan Kettering, none of the big white boys. This is done by the support of you and I as black people. Now, we can go to Six Flags and spend a couple $1,000s having fun riding around on merry-go-rounds and getting shook up. Then I think we can spend a couple of dollars tonight with a brother that has spent his life seeking to educate black people. Do we all agree? I want to say again that it is imperative that we not only take the information and intellectually digest it, but be able to feed this information to our babies so that the generation to come, eventually somewhere down the line of time, somebody, somewhere is able to look up and say, we got free because our daddies and our mamas decided to stand up. They weren't going to take it anymore and made the decision that white world supremacy had to come to an end. Every time somebody stood up and realized that they had to fight this thing even to the death, they were destroyed. Malcolm had to go. Martin had to go. Medgar had to go. And ever so many others. The Black Panther Party and all of the different organizations, leadership, constantly under continuous assault. They tell me that the United States government, with its listings under the USA Patriot Act prior to 9/11, had a listing of no-fly entities, 16 names of suspected terrorists that could not fly. Tonight, I want to let you know that there is a single-spaced page of information that floats around the United States government, single-space type lettering with the names of people that are listed as no-fly entities that have gone from 16 to 119,000 people who at any given time can't fly because they are suspected of being terrorists. Now, don't ask me how I know that. But at any rate, you could be suspected, you could be arrested, you could be targeted because the global system of white supremacy has come to understand that it has such a short time frame in its very existence that they are clawing both tooth and nail, fighting to hold on to the last vestiges of white supremacy. Do you realize that they knew that in the 1960s, things had gotten so out of control that they almost lost it? So says some of their leading political scientists, such as Emmanuel Wallerstein, such as Samuel Huntington. And I'm throwing these names of these white supremacist leaders out because in every instance, you must understand that the way this thing works, in the end, for every one of them that stands as an intellectual countercharge to hold black people in place, we must produce an intellectual countercharge to make certain that black people get free. If by chance the Trilateral Commission said that a crisis of democracy emerged as a result of too many people participating and too many people put too much pressure on the government and the government could not meet all of their demands and that the system could soon be overthrown, then you must understand how close we came to whipping the pants off global white supremacy. I know of no other brother that has brought as much information forward to the black community as Brother Steve has done with little or no research funding, but only by the gift and the grace and the talent and the blessing of the Almighty Creator has it been done continuously for so long that it should be an honor and a pleasure to serve, to give even our last dime to make certain that the information that goes forward is never stopped so that eventually we all get free. I close by reminding you that in our fight against white supremacy, everywhere that I go in this city, when I get sick and tired of white supremacy, I always make certain that I fire you, the people, up to let you realize that there's only one alternative, that eventually it is coming. So before I bring on the brother, let me say to you in conclusion, Baltimore, let's go get them tonight. At this time, I bring to you my beloved brother, Steve Coakley, who just happened to take a phone call. Just give him a few seconds. And we're going to get on the way. So for those of you that would like, relax, be at home. We're among family, we're among friends. There'll be no fussing, there'll be no fighting. Let's just enjoy the information. Family, stand to your feet. Give a wonderful and warm round of applause to our beloved brother, Steve Coakley.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you Africans coming out to Sojourner Douglas. Man, but you wouldn't know what it means. Oh, mama! You wouldn't know what it means to see some of my good old friends up in here today. Look at here. Whoa. All righty. To see some of my good old friends here today. I think this one's not going too far. Steve. Yes.
No, if you do this, they record it, but stay away from the speakers. That's what it is.
Okay. There we go. Thanks. Because I got to get over to this road, too. Yes, sir. How you doing, brothers? All right. Good to see these brothers, and good to see you too, sisters. But amongst the brothers, it's good to find a spot where we can re-up. Been through a lot of things together. First thing, I humbly want to give my thanks to Brother Nati. Yes, sir. That brother is more than you know. He can do so many things and he does them so quietly. And I give much respect to him and his family and the people who work with him, for there is not a more dependable brother that I have found on the path than Brother Nati. And he know, maybe only he and I know how that brother backed me up, and I humbly again thank him because he's really a great brother deep up under the cover. And I appreciate him very much. Sojourner Douglas has grown since I've been here last, and I appreciate them being willing to host us. Sometime during this evening, I'm not really liking this feedback up in here. I can kind of cut it loose, maybe if I hold it a little further away. Maybe even if we had a stem or a stand. Maybe if we had a stem or a stand, I could talk to it a little better. But sometime during this evening, we will get to share something of value, I'm sure. And for those of you who have heard probably hundreds of Steve Coakley lectures, 50 in person and hundreds on them DVDs and tapes and CDs, we're not alone. There isn't any city that I could go in that I could not raise my voice and not another man or woman hear it and not know what we stand for. No, see, it's not done. I need to.
Oh, you need something to start?
Yeah. Okay. It's all right. In the revolution, we'll try many things. And it's on, too. White folk in big trouble. Might as well let me loose a little bit. White folk in big trouble. Yeah, don't nobody even want to be in their army. If you're a white woman and you're in the CIA, they might reveal you tomorrow. If you're a senator and you toe tapping in the bathroom. If you Lindsay Lohan or Paris Hilton or all those other wealthy people who cannot contain themselves, you should know that sometimes having nothing ain't so bad when you see what happens with people who are unfit, found deep in their soul to be about nothing when they had no excuse to explain why they weren't more relevant in their lifetime. So having little or working without much doesn't appear to be a problem at all, because those with much more are finding themselves somewhat ineffective. Baltimore got many problems. So Richmond, Virginia last night, they got many problems. And in many cases, we even have leadership that looks like us. Ohio, the police chief is black, the superintendent is black, the mayor is black, the head of the judges is black. Everybody black, but the black people don't feel safe at all. They feel like they're in jeopardy. It appears as if these things that we have out in front of us are not effective in holding back the tide of oppression. That's the best a politician can do. Now, I registered voters, but it really wasn't about whether you went to vote. I really got 55 of my friends, and this is what it was about. For those who spoke earlier about voters registration, it was about 55 of us spreading ourselves around the city of Chicago and being in places to register voters where voters are not normally approached. Grocery stores, currency exchanges, public aid, DMV. And while we're out there signing them up to register to vote, we're talking to them about the things we believe in that are bigger than what votes can produce. And how you associate and integrate and move around your own neighborhood, that tool that you use might be irrelevant to what your goal is. So it might be because they appear to be handicapped, that people overlook their ability to be of some assistance to their community. Brother said, I can watch some shit all day. You put me on something. I can hold stuff up under my seat here. Can't nobody see it, wouldn't dare touch it. And you know, we be into the boo-boo bombs, and we got something called pea pistols. And we load up these little water guns with pea. People act like we just shoot with the pea. And you know, we talked in the past about them boo-boo bombs. Well, we have perfected this thing. Shit still works. And the ability to use something that no one wants to touch them in a crowded room is of great value and costs little. Costs little. See, having nothing don't mean we don't have nothing to work with. That's right. And I would throw pee on somebody who was undermining our community to stop from hitting them. That's right. And if the pee didn't work well, there's Hitler. That's right. But we must be willing to discipline ourselves. Sometimes we do misappropriations of things in front of other people, and we give the children the wrong impression. Here comes Katrina, and there goes, oh, it's working pretty good. Oh, there we go. No wonder this sounds so good. There goes Jay-Z and Puffy give $1 million each to the Red Cross to give to black people. The Red Cross put the money in their pocket. They said, the fool don't know, we only got a general fund. We ain't got no Katrina fund. And they didn't really get benefits from the money that was given by a black person to a white person, the one who was messing it up in the first place, to help the black person who they already showed they weren't going to help. Now, Katrina has done this and nothing else. It has convinced our people that no one is coming. You have no social net. And if it is one, it's amongst ourselves. So hey, let's just figure this out. Amongst us, we got the answer. Amongst us, we got the motion. I suggest take about 6 million of us to pull it off. And Garvey did it with our radio, TV, fax, email, iPod, all of that. So I'm sure we can do it. But you know what happens? Yeah, see, you know what happens? When somebody got an iPod in their ear, you can't talk to them. You know, another thing, if you really are thinking about making change, you need a universal communicative instrument. Now, last night in Richmond, I learned something, and I'm going to try it with you. We see how this goes, because see, when I see the iPod and I see these funny little TV-looking things people got, and all these phones that do this and that, and their computers and their laptops, then the CD and still the cassette, I'm trying to think that if a revolution came, what would be the universal instrument we would use that everybody has? So we're going to do check now. How many still got cassette? All right, that shit went down like that stuff went down like Richmond. I didn't have to do that. That went down like Richmond. And that is that it appears as if, how many of y'all got iPod? How many of y'all got a laptop with you? Okay, so cassette win. So if somebody hand you one and say, listen to this, and give 5 more to hear it, then you know that's it. That becomes the weapon of choice. Cassette tape, we agree to that? Now, if I saw you 57 other cities go through that same process, only somebody must be warming you up for a message that won't have any public ratification. It will not be publicly declared or uttered in public other than to another person in private. And it will spread, and you will know it's you. And you'll hear something in there that will affect you. And trying to come up with something that would make change, and we got something like we call the factor, and I'm gonna get up on this thing here and make some squares up there and divide the United States up into 5 areas. And if New Orleans was area number 4, then it needed to be people in area number 4 in case it came again, and it can, that they would drop what they're doing to help Area 4 out. Now, we figured out there were certain positions that we needed. One position we need is clear bridge as by any means necessary. Now, why do we need that operation? Because there were some white folk who stood on a bridge with guns in their hands, and they shot black people from crossing the bridge to public safety. So we need bridge cleaners by any means necessary, who, if something go down in lane 4, they know they hitting that bridge, and we taking anything out that stop our people from being publicly safe. All right? We know that now, because white folk, I couldn't imagine what was on the other side that wasn't worth sharing with the ancestor of a slave who you pimped to get it. We got a lot of confusion about the enemy still in our neighborhood, but circumstance suggests things are changing. For so long, many of the leadership in the neighborhood tended to seek ratification and certification and financial aggrandizement from people who are enemies of ours. Now, you all remember, it used to be a guy that used to be around me all the time. I stayed in his house for a whole summer. We road dogged all up over Baltimore together, all the way up to New York, down to Virginia Beach. Brother Hightower. Y'all remember that, brother? Now, it is physically impossible to ride with Steve Coakley for 10 years and work for the Ford Foundation. That's right. And then if you go in there and somebody call you for some hunky information, you decide your love for them is greater and you don't tell. See, I don't care where you go, but you sure better tell if we call you. Now, some of y'all go places where we would not normally associate because they represent people who are not in our interest. And if you work for or spend time aiding and abetting someone who is not in our interest, you must be willing at the right time to pull the plug on their ass. You know, so if you're going to be there, then be there for a reason. You'd be surprised. Like, say we in the World Bank and we trying to steal some information and we go to the washroom attendant and the elevator operator to get it on the street. So if you at the spot, you be willing. You at the utility company, you at City Hall, you in the mayor's office. I'm one of the few people they ever thrown out the mayor's office for speeches. Because if you know something and you near somebody who don't know nothing, after a while they'll start to do what you think. I say, I don't even want to figure it out. Go handle it for me. I say, man, see, you keep giving them too much abrogated authority. But be responsible. Now, we need all kind of positions. Say in a particular zone, it might be zone 2, it might be the Baltimore area. We get a feeling that white folk ain't hearing what we're saying, so we decide that we're going to have highway speed controllers. Highway speed controllers. We're training them. We're training them right now. Highway speed controllers. What do? At the appropriate moment, they get to a certain part of the highway and they stop cars all the way across double stop. Stop. After a while, when things build up and they go to call for help, Team B will be prepared to put the next leg down because they can't get it all at once. And when you pick which ones are the worst ones and where it is, they would need to get a car to come help what they're doing that you don't like no way. They'll recognize unless they appeal to you at that moment, they ain't gonna get what they want. Now, Team 3, now they on the alert. People blocking the highway. So now all of a sudden, we send Team C in. These are cars that you get to the top of the ramp and you just push them down. And they just run out of gas right in the middle of lane 1, 2, 3, 4. And when they come to, why is it? I said, man, we just ran out of gas. I don't know. Just ran out of gas. Our little car fell down there. So we got, and some people ask me, said, man, you know, we've been asking these white folks and they ain't listening. I said, hey, man, stop it. Stop this shit. Shut it down. How can you shut it down? you can be a highway street speed controller. Said the speed today on this street will be zip. Nobody moving on North Avenue. Nobody moving on whatever, whatever. Now, you looking up going, man, that don't make no sense. It make a whole lot of sense if you up to something. Because in case you can shut down, what starts coming that can't get there? Lunch. Oh, the police will come by helicopter. And they'll be down looking at these 6 disabled cars, initially not under, unless one of y'all tell on me tonight. They will not understand the first 6 cars. Unless one of y'all tell on me tonight. Now, who in here gonna tell on me tonight? The brother said he gonna tell on me. Okay, well just remember this. Oh, yeah, I'm with you, brother. I appreciate it. We retract that. That white woman who was the CIA, now this is some deep shit now. This is the state condition for which you must find an avenue. See, I don't like that word survival, but to live. A white woman and her husband figure out that white folk getting ready to spend trillions of dollars on some shit that ain't true. They got only 100 senators to hoodwink and 435 Congress people, and out of 535, didn't but one stand up and say no, a black woman. That black woman, Barbara Lee of Oakland, as a result of standing up, allowed her political unit in Oakland to bring Ron Dillums back and be the mayor of Oakland. My man Johnny, who was her aide, is not a state senator. They the state rep, they the city council, and they the mayor of Oakland. But part of that centered around Barbara Lee standing up to people Oakland say, we'll stand up with y'all, and they get a city to their family. It's a family, a black family running Detroit. Right? People going in for reasons and are able to capture territory. So, under these circumstances, you got a white woman telling her husband, I need you to go to Africa. Now imagine, it's a white woman and a white man's laying in the bed, say, honey, I need you to go to Africa because they're trying to say there's uranium in Niger that Saddam Hussein is gonna buy, and we know this ain't true. And the document that said that was so forged that in 4 different places you could see 4 different people claiming to have wrote the same damn document. It wasn't even logically plausible. But the test was, can I get all of these people, including the media, the universities, the public civil rights people, the peace war people, the business people, everybody to agree that because of 9/11, we're going to invade this dude, didn't have nothing to do with it. Now let's see how stupid the people are. And if they go for this one, shit, they'll go for wiping out the Negro. See, if you go for a war that ain't true, it is not many black children dying in Iraq. Because when that first brother Muslim started blowing up on them, they decided that the black man in Iraq was a threat. So they lessened the role, and they got good old white boys over there. Even like good old white boy football players shot by other good old white boys in a stupid ass accident. Go all the way back to the good old white woman who was rescued, and she said I wasn't even in danger. You know, going back to that Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11, and now so-called Al-Qaeda is all up in there stronger than ever before. Got rid of somebody they didn't even want. But then, like the lady said today on the radio, Bush and them was with them anyway. And Bush and Cheney claim they ain't even the executive branch no more. Damn, that's some deep shit there. Cheney shoot a white man in the face and the white man apologized. So the white woman tell her husband to go to Africa, and they decide that they're going to expose this white woman's secret relationship as a CIA analyst in non-proliferation, because the white boys in the White House, they kick ass amongst the white people. And so if anybody, all these people coming out of there now admit that they were forced into positions they didn't believe in, that they were asked to do things that they knew weren't right. They restricted every law. They just had some shit the other day where a judge agreed, this is an adverse impact of 9/11. Judge agreed that it was absolutely illegal to go to the phone company and get your records. That they've been doing it without court order. And the judge ruled that it was absolutely illegal for them to get all your emails and your searches off your Googles and your YouTubes and MySpaces and all the rest of that exposure. And they admitted it was illegal to get your bank records without a court order. And then he ruled it was illegal, but he stayed it, meaning that they could still do it while they come back in 90 days with a better excuse for it. So he agreed it was illegal, but he let them to keep doing it. Now let's just hold that premise right there. A climate where people do things that they know aren't right and they do them anyway is a danger for you. You know, so FEMA, you know, everybody said, bring the FEMA truck, bring the FEMA truck. They tried to tell you not to take them, and they have formaldehyde in them. That's some dead shit. That's what you put on a dead body. Okay. And obviously, parts of New Orleans haven't changed because they haven't changed about how they think about us. And in this book right here, that's right, Brother Tyler. In this book right here, man, we got Donald and David, man, all the crew up in here, man. They're all down here, man. All of them gunslingers, Brother Charles over there. This book here, Foot Soldiers for Garvey. It said that in 1990, let me read this here. What were Garvey's two biggest chapters when he stood 6 million strong? Page 9. The UNIA had 1,800 registered divisions around the world. Within these 1,800 divisions, the membership totaled about 6 million active people. The largest memberships were located in 2 cities, New York City and New Orleans, Louisiana. Was very large and viable during this period. Each division had its own elected officers. In those days, the president and secretary were appointed by a list of qualified, efficient persons, and they had to be approved by the division. So when I saw that, I thought about all that Garvey legacy that had to be swept up in that water. Then I thought about Garvey himself. Then I thought about, I know Brother Nati, I saw it over in the store earlier today, the book, The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. Brother Charles, he's an avid reader of that. But I asked the UNIA when I spoke before them on August 17th, I asked them if they would do what their daddy did. Now this is very important. To have a mass movement in this country, as Amy Garvey said, it's difficult to do it without replicating techniques that Garvey utilized and invoking Garvey's words and philosophies in your way of doing it. He said it's impossible because it's the only thing you can grab on that's been done. So grab it back. But then in another area, we have the organization, the remnant of his ancestry, the United Negro Improvement Association.